Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As ladies and gentlemen, the crypto market, it's had its pullback. And now the part where I think alts as well as Bitcoin are about to run is coming. We've seen over the past week XRP being one of the best performers due to a lot of speculation and news that has been breaking. And that's not going to stop. The Ripple XRP news this week has been explosive. First, their CBDC platform, then Medico acquisition. The Hinman docs are going to be unsealed. The Ripple in Hong Kong pilot program. I smell a lot of things brewing. And before I get into anything else, remember this clip from Dubai where Garlinghouse discusses what the future of XRP is going to hold.
What I think will be next is certainly something Ripple thinks about. We started with enterprise-based cross-border payments. We talk about there being four kind of primitive pieces to blockchain-based technologies: liquidity, compliance, liquidity, compliance, custody, and tokenization. And Ripple really aspires to be more than just that kind of liquidity and cross-border payments. I think you'd expect that we will expand into some of those other areas, either organically or through acquisition. And I think we'll look at, let's make acquisitions in markets that are friendly to these technologies. On the previous panel, you had representation from the UAE, you had representation from Switzerland. These are countries that are providing the clarity for entrepreneurs to invest, and that allows a company like Ripple that is larger. We have more than $1 billion of US dollars cash on our balance sheet. We want to deploy that to grow both organically, internally, but also inorganically through acquisition.
You see, guys, what's so interesting about that clip? Garlinghouse talked about liquidity. Well, XRP is that on-demand liquidity. Compliance. We believe XRP is going to be the first fully compliant digital asset in the United States after passing the Ripple test. Custody, PolySign, standard custody. These are being built by key architects of the XRP ledger. And then he discusses tokenization. This is from Payments Infrastructure News, discussing how Ripple announced the launch of a CBDC platform for central banks. Then the company announces that it has been selected to showcase a real estate asset tokenization solution as part of the Hong Kong Monetary Authority pilot program. Isn't that so interesting? Garlinghouse gave tremendous hints into the announcements that we were going to be experiencing. And that's why when he speaks, you all better pay extremely close attention. Now, keep that in the back of your minds, as we have this tweet from John Deaton. He lists the crypto companies that have had bankruptcies: FTX, BlockFi, Voyager, Celsius, Genesis, 3 Arrows, Bittrex, Core Scientific. Crypto layoffs include Coinbase, Blockchain.com, Consensus, Gemini, Crypto.com, Masari, Huobi. But the crypto company that rises out of the ashes of not only a financial crisis, not only a crypto winter, not only an SEC lawsuit, is Ripple, as they're hiring and buying companies while being sued by the SEC. Most of these crypto companies can't survive even during a fucking bull market. But Ripple, like Garlinghouse stated, has over $1 billion of cash reserves ready to be deployed at any given moment during a bear market and during an SEC lawsuit. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you haven't even seen the true power of Ripple and XRP yet. They've only just begun. Here, Garlinghouse discussed how they had acquired Medico, a Swiss-based digital asset custody provider, And with Medico as a key part of Ripple's plans into custody and crypto infrastructure, they'll be able to support customers with custody, issuance, sending, and settlement of any type of tokenized asset. Like Brad Garlinghouse stated, this is massive. And like I said before, I'll say again, pay extremely close attention to what Brad Garlinghouse is saying right now. I believe we're near the end of this lawsuit, like plenty of you guys believe as well. And when that finally ends, there will be nothing holding us back. Now guys, in the same breath, we have that Ripple has hired a new board member as of today, Warren Jensen. He is the ex-chief financial officer at Amazon, Delta, and NBC. Ripple, specifically Ripple's board, is filled with absolute Goliaths. And these people would not be joining this company if this company weren't worth it. All these people are saying fuck an SEC lawsuit because they understand that once there are clear rules of the road, nothing will be able to stop what's coming. Here, we had the House discussing being in favor of regulating stablecoins. And they stated a vote against regulating stablecoins is a vote against protecting customers.
I want to emphasize that the similarities between the two proposals are strong, and that's why we're not that far apart. Without action from Congress, however, offshore and opaque projects will continue to thrive, and stablecoin issuers will not feel confident to seek opportunities in the United States. And to echo the hearing title, stablecoins will not be stable. Thus, opposing legislation is not a vote in favor of consumer protection. Rather, it's a vote for putting consumers at risk by allowing a regulatory environment that pushes stablecoins further away from an appropriate U.S. regulatory oversight. We have the power to reverse this trend and cement the U.S. as the leading place for safe payments innovation. I look forward to the discussion today. I look forward to our witnesses' views on the two proposals and ultimately bring legal clarity and consumer protection to the stablecoin ecosystem.
This is important because, as you can see, this Ripple case, stablecoin regulations, CBDC adoption are all converging to one special climax of a moment where the financial revolution and the digitization of the global financial system will intersect. It'll shock 99.9% of the planet. But for the XRP army, it will build generational wealth. We are the new 1%. And despite every single obstacle, we've persevered. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to cap off this video for today, we have this Brad Garlinghouse yet again making a media tour, and what I believe will be one of his biggest ones, where he discusses this SEC case and the state of regulations. I always love hearing Brad talk because he always leaks some powerful pieces of information, where if we listen closely, could give us insight as to where we go next. I think all of you see the writing on the wall. We've waited long enough and we're about to be rewarded handsomely. And as a proud member of the XRP army, I'd like to say congratulations in advance. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
Given the fact that there's a lot of caution out there in the investor community after a number of high-profile collapses in the crypto world, by getting in on the infrastructure more, Are you trying to iron out some of the risk and volatility that's associated with this sector?
Well, I think at its core, this is a bet about the long-term view of where digital assets and blockchain technologies are going to change how financial institutions manage and certainly transact. At the core, we think there's going to be a lot of examples where through tokenization, you're going to see assets that we think about trading today that are tokenized. And institutions need to think about how they store digital assets today, known as cryptocurrencies, but also those tokens of the future. BlackRock's CEO, Larry Fink, talked about this being a multi-trillion-dollar asset business. And we think it's going to continue to grow. It's a great fit for us because it's really where Ripple has been throughout our history of focusing on infrastructure and solving real problems for real customers.
A few years ago, back in 2020, you had a bit of a run-in with the SEC. Medico is based in Switzerland. It's got non-US employees, as far as I know. Was that part of the appeal, given that US regulators are cracking down more and more on cryptocurrency companies?
Look, I think it's fair to say that the U.S. has made it as confusing as possible as to what the rules of the road are for the crypto industry. And frankly, it's why you're seeing entrepreneurship and investment flowing into other jurisdictions. Certainly, Europe has been a significant beneficiary of the confusion that has existed in the United States. And yes, as you described, the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission has really been at the forefront of that confusion. And unfortunately, that has encouraged companies like Ripple to invest more outside of the United States. About 95% of our customers are non-U.S. And this year, most of our hiring will be non-U.S. for some of those exact same reasons. Ripple, prior to this acquisition, we have about 800 employees. Medico has about 100 employees, as you described, almost all outside the United States, primarily in and around Europe. So we think it's a perfect fit, both from the type of customer, where we're trying to grow, where our customers are today. And so we're certainly very excited about it.
Brad, what should the post-FTX regulatory framework then look like for cryptos and governing cryptos?
I think it's a really important question because I think we conflate what happened with FTX as a crypto problem. And really, look, from my point of view, at its core, what happened with FTX is called a fraud. And frauds happen in lots of different, unfortunately, asset classes. It's not, unfortunately, specific to crypto. But when I talk about providing clarity and rules of the road, the rules of the road for FTX were clear. They just broke those rules. The challenge here in the United States, where Europe really has provided leadership, and countries like UAE, certainly the growth you're seeing in Dubai, but even the UK and Singapore, they're providing the clarity about how they will regulate these digital assets. And that allows, through those rules of the road, that allows entrepreneurs, that allows investors to go engage constructively with regulators. And again, the reason why Medico has been such a perfect fit for Ripple is from its beginning, it's been focused on infrastructure, enterprise, and working with the regulators. These are all regulated entities. That's true of Ripple's customers today, and the reason that we think Medico is such a perfect fit, and we're willing to pay $250 million, was because they also have that same DNA and that same ethos of focusing on an enterprise customer, working with regulators, and really being very global from the start.
Why do I hold XRP? Because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing for their carbon credit solution? XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple. Who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions, including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America. Ripple, who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve. Ripple, a former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division. Ripple, leading Australia's CBDC effort. Ripple, who hired a former Treasury of the United States. Ripple, 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board. Ripple, 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors, former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany, former business director at Swift, former Swift board member, former CFO of PayPal, former head of the DTCC, former chief business officer at Uber, former VP of Amazon, and former SEC chair on their legal team. Ripple, who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's high-level advisory board on fintech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website. Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan? You decide.